Greetings, Guardians, my name is Byfear. So, we need to talk about Season of the Deep, for a bunch of reasons. I think before we get into the lore of this video, though, we need to at least touch on one greater issue in the community as of recent. Essentially, this all boils down to the fact that there are some Season of the Deep leaks out there. And, yeah, a rather big deal has been made of them. A content creator was banned, I'm not naming names here. Most people who have been on Twitter will already know, but the whole situation is incredibly messy. And I don't want to touch that situation with a 10-foot pole, so maybe refrain from doing so in the chat. Let's keep this focused on the lore, because I don't want this to be a drama video, I want this to be a lore video. I want to also let you know that I have not seen any of those leaks, and therefore I'm unspoiled as to the nature of the season, so I'm not covering those leaks, because yeah, it's channel policy. If I talk about something that coincides with things, cool, awesome. We get to sit there and say, hey, we knew where this was coming from, we had the right idea. If not, I mean, so be it. But either way, point being, we're not talking about the leaks here, and we are not covering those with any deliberate fashion. And let's restrict any conversation here to speculation, and if you are one of the people who's seen the leaks, don't spoil others. It's just a massive dick move. Like I said before, I wouldn't normally touch any kind of controversial discussion about leaks and stuff to do in the game with a 10-foot pole, but I was coming along with some Season of the Deep speculation content anyway, and well, it was on the schedule, and spoilers be damned, we're gonna make this video. Alright, everybody cool? Cool, let's talk about the Season of the Deep. So, what do we know about things coming in the next year or so, or rather, what can we learn from what's already in-game? Well, there's something rather huge that we need to talk about, and of course, it's the outcome of the Strider quest from Lightfall. Let's begin there. I've already covered the Strider quest a whole bunch. If you missed that video on Winterbite and Soteria, don't worry. It's still up on the channel. The point being is that the final note of the Strider quest leads you to the conclusion of the Hall of Heroes quest chain. In this quest chain, we rebuilt a bunch of monuments to the old Cloud Striders, including Blue Jay, Maelstrom, Stargazer, and of course, the very first Cloud Strider, whose call sign was just Strider. The key storyline along all of this is that the Cloud Striders were hiding something at the core of the architecture of the Cloud Ark, and as it turns out, that something was the submind of Soteria. Soteria was an AI from the Golden Age who was able to predict the future with great accuracy. That's a gross oversimplification, and it totally overlooks the fact that Soteria is partly based on Vex technology, but yeah, the important thing to know is that Soteria is, well, really good at predicting the future. Soteria actually talks to us a little bit through some text dialogue that you'll get at the very end of the quest when you pick up your final reward. That end of quest dialogue from Soteria reads, Subject, Paracausal Hero. I endure gratitude. Urgent. Saturn 6 contains vital information. Enemy of Witness on Titan. If still living, preservation paramount. Do not waste time. So, as was established when I first covered this, Titan and Saturn 6, yeah, same orbiting body. That means that there are clear and established trajectories for the future. At some point, we're probably going to Titan. But how do we get there? Last we know, Titan is still stuck out there, wherever the Witness has banished it to, and, well, I mean, Mars returned, but is there any chance of us potentially returning the world of Titan as well? This is the point at which I think we need to take a look at two different bits of lore: Root of Nightmares and the Altar of Reflection. It's no surprise that we're looking at the planetarium room here, because in the raid you can actually see a bunch of planets up above you. And I say planets, planetoids is the right one, because many of those are probably moons as well. And it seems like those include worlds that were abducted by the Witness. The mechanisms within the room might be how the Witness abducted our worlds, but what's even more consequential is how this might link into a little bit of lore from the Witch Queen. You may remember, if you did the Altar of Reflection, how Savathun would sometimes sit there and give you two truths and two lies. Take a listen to this one in particular.
Shall we play a game? 2 lies, 2 truths. Mercury, Io, and Titan are in my care. The Witness returned Mars to your solar system. The power to move worlds will soon be yours. The Taken King will rise again. You Guardians are so clever. Tell me, what is true and what is false?
The power to move worlds could soon be ours. I'm not the very first one to go ahead and put that little bit back out there, but hey, here we are. I'll say it again like most of the other people in the community who covers the lore of stuff. Yeah, this seems like a really tantalizing possibility for the future. Savathun's predictions may yet ring true. If we are able to move worlds once again, then we have a clear avenue to returning Titan to our system. This avenue would be to somehow use the mechanisms of the room to bring our world back, probably using powers linked to darkness itself. But there are some other bits and pieces linked to Titan. According to Soteria, the enemy of the Witness still exists on Titan. If that's true, then we're probably looking at someone with some truly remarkable information, or someone of incredible significance in the lore, or someone of incredible power. Whilst I don't think she technically satisfies all of these definitions, a very powerful ally of ours that might still be on Titan is Deputy Commander Sloane. Sloane is not the most notable of Guardians, but she's earned that Deputy Commander accolade with good reason. She's a fierce combatant, and even as Titan slid into the Witness's grasp, there was a decent chance that she survived when she chose to stay behind, not least because of what she found at the end of the Season of Arrivals. Take a listen to the final entry of the Duress and Egress lorebook. It shows how Sloane started using a Golden Age exosuit that gave her some remarkable new strength. After she watched the Guardian's ship roar off Titan for the last time, Deputy Commander Sloane went into her office and put on the Golden Age technology she had claimed from the Hive. The heavy power source hung from her shoulders like a bandolier. She draped it across her neck and stepped into the suit. Vast and clumsy. As she bowed her head into the grey hood, a view screen appeared before her. She did not understand the language, not yet, but chose the green option. With a hiss, the suit conformed to her shape. It was heavy, but she had full range of movement. She focused on her arms, concentrated, and the material scabbed into thick armor plates. That was something. She tried to form arc energy, but the suit blocked her light, or perhaps she would have to learn how to flex her light through the suit. She selected another option with her eyes, and selected again to confirm. There was no pain as she felt the suit snake a cold tube through her side and coil something near her stomach. That answered a few of her questions. Sloane lurched outside. There was a storm, like Titan was trying to drive off the invader that sat lazily in its sky. She walked into the gale, and the rain beaded on her second skin. Each step was easier than the last as the suit adjusted to her gait. A symbol flashed, and a Hive thrall charged her. She gripped it by its neck and arm before tearing it apart. It was so easy. She laughed then. The suit interpreted it as a battle cry and amplified it, broadcasted it. The sound echoed off the discarded shipping containers on the rainy landing pads, echoed through Siren's Watch and up toward the pyramid. Lightning flashed in the sky, and the storm raged on. So Sloane is probably still out there fighting the good fight. If we find her again in the future, I imagine that we'll see her wielding that mentioned suit. Whilst she is the obvious contender for the enemy of the Witness as far as relevant characters that we know of are concerned, there are a few other possibilities. I spoke previously about the idea of the Leviathan, or whatever we can see within the methane oceans on Titan, and how it might in fact be the thing that is the great enemy of the Witness, but what that could be, I don't know. The moment anything gets brought up about the worm, speculation runs rampant and wild, and I know that sometimes I like to partake in that, and whilst I will mention a few things here, I think it should be said that nobody knows anything about the worm, and well, people's speculation in the past has been pretty dramatically wrong, if nothing else. There has been speculative comments talking about how this may have been Oryx's worm that fled him after he died, which, I mean, makes no sense as far as the orbits of planets are concerned. I hate to entertain possibilities like this because, I mean, you know what? Sometimes these things do happen in the game, but I don't think so. I've also heard theories talking about how this is just one of the Great Leviathans, which are related to the Leviathan that was found back on Fundament, but I don't know. That's also something which does not have a lot of explanation. So yeah, how it got here, what it's doing there, I don't know. It makes for an obvious enemy of the Witness, but for the rest of it, not sure. I've heard some people say this might be a worm god. Also a questionable one, considering that we only know of 6 that have ever existed. The mother worm that's trapped at the heart of Rulk's pyramid and now dead, and its 5 offspring. It's not clear what their reproductive cycle is or how a potential male father worm would have made it to Titan, but I mean, hey, it's worth mentioning, I guess, just in case that is correct. Either way, this is the only other character we know of that was on Titan that might have survived. There are other enemies of the Witness, though, that might still be there. Whether we'll find out who they are before the Season of the Deep or not, I don't know, but regardless, keep your head in a swivel. There is a good chance that we go back to Titan with all of this, and my speculation at very least is that we'll be using the room within Root of Nightmares to help bring Titan back into real space. In fact, we may be revisiting that raid a lot in the future. But all things considered, that's going to be it for the video today. And that is my speculation on where the Season of the Deep will lead us. If you enjoyed or have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments section, and remember, no spoilers. I will be really mad if I find out that people have posted spoilers down there. And yeah, you will immediately get a shadow ban if I see it. So just don't do it. It's just not worth it. Either way, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you want more Destiny lore content, go ahead and hit subscribe and the bell next to subscribe to turn on those email notifications. But as per usual, know that your viewership, as always, has been quite enough for me. And that in the meantime, my name is Byf. Rodacia ad Astra. I'll see you, Starside.